Would love to hear the thoughts on this table around men taking therapy, because I have obviously spoken a lot about it. I stand by it. I think it has improved my life drastically. It has helped me understand so much about why behind my conditioning of मैं क्यों इतना काम करता हूँ, मैं क्यों इतना कम सोता हूँ, मैं क्यों अपनी हेल्थ को इतना ध्यान नहीं रखता हूँ, and just processing very hard emotions sometimes, emotions like, and men deal with these emotions as well, right? Insecurity, shame, grief, pain, loss, कितनी सारी चीज़ें होती हैं जो हम लोग शायद बात नहीं कर पाते. I feel like it's not something that men are still very hesitant to care about their mental fitness as much as they would about physical fitness.
बोले मैं समझदार लोग, फिर मैं अजीब बात करूं.
तुम आप अजीब बोलते हो, लेकिन then you end up saying the most intellectual.
सबसे पहले तो जिम जाना और थेरेपी दो बहुत ही अलग चीजें हैं. और थेरेपी जो है जनरली जो है मोस्टली व्हेन समबडी गोज थ्रू समथिंग, क्योंकि फिर हम उस पे आएंगे कि थेरेपी लेना मतलब वो अलग चीज़ है. एक उसके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा एजुकेटेड हमको साइकोलॉजिस्ट भी चाहिए, साइकोलॉजिस्ट की एक्सेसिबिलिटी भी चाहिए टू नॉर्मलाइज थेरेपी. और ये मैं बोल रहा हूँ फॉर बीइंग इन थेरेपी फॉर लाइक गुड 2 years व्हेन आई वाज एंग्शियस. तो इस बात का तो कोई लॉजिक ही नहीं है कि थेरेपी लेनी चाहिए कि नहीं लेनी चाहिए. ऑफ कोर्स लेनी चाहिए, लेकिन थेरेपी को इकलौता रामबाण बना के प्रस्तुत करना कि भाई थेरेपी आप लेंगे तो भाई दुनिया बदल जाएगी. मैं बहुत ऐसे लोगों को जानता हूँ जो रेगुलर थेरेपी जिम जाते हैं और खराब ही लोग हैं. वो कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा. 3 ही चीज़ें होती हैं इंसान में, सोशियोलॉजी, फिजियोलॉजी और साइकोलॉजी. तो हम वो सोशियोलॉजी और फिजियोलॉजी पे ज़्यादा फोकस कर रहे हैं. साइकोलॉजी भी एक एस्पेक्ट है आपके ह्यूमन बीइंग का और ह्यूमन पर्सनैलिटी का, जिससे आपको फोकस करना चाहिए. तो ये इतना बड़ा इशू नहीं है जिसका इसको बनाया जा रहा है, लेकिन देयर आर सम प्रॉब्लम्स जो थेरेपी में जाके ही सॉल्व हो सकती हैं.
बिल्कुल.
देयर आर सम साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स जो एक क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट जो पढ़ा लिखा है, जिसको पता है कि आपके प्रॉब्लम्स क्या होते हैं, पैटर्न्स क्या होते हैं, एंग्जाइटी के पैटर्न्स क्या है, डिप्रेशन के पैटर्न्स क्या है, एडीएचडी के पैटर्न्स क्या है, वो क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट जो पढ़ा है वो ही बता सकता है. तो जाओ थेरेपी.
No, fair enough. Absolutely. Anyone else has?
Yeah, I think therapy is important to, they talk about domains, about things that you know, things that you don't know, and there are things that you don't know, right? I mean, so I think therapy is important in terms of those blind spots, which people around you may not necessarily know anything about your story, where you came from, what exactly has brought you to this point. And therefore, I think having a professional, I can't think of a single argument against having therapy at all. The only caveats are, we tend to think of therapy in terms of the same way as we think of doctors. You have a fever, you take a crocin, you get better tomorrow, right? One needs to understand that it's a process. So there are going to be no quick fixes.
Yeah.
You need to have a supportive system around you, which then 2 months down the road say, 2 महीने हो गए कोई change नहीं दिख रहा है हमको, तुम तो वैसे ही हो जैसे पहले थे. Right? That's not going to happen. It's going to be very subtle, very gentle, very, slow changes over time.
No, so my question was more from a sense of like, why do you think there's a hesitation? Cold plunges try कर सकते हो, biohacking try कर सकते हो, therapy क्यों नहीं try कर सकते?
I'm a big propagator of therapy, and it came actually from a very difficult space when I really went out seeking for for help, and I'm glad that I had the support of my sister at that time, because I remember calling her up saying that I don't think I'm okay, and only now when I look back at it, I feel like tomorrow if I had a sleep apnea issue, I would very proudly go to him, pay a consultation fee, and get the device back home, and not be embarrassed of it. Why? Because it's more external than internal. I feel the minute anything becomes more internal, it feels more real. Anything that feels more real feels more embarrassing. And coming back to the whole blanket of it, that because we've never empowered men to be emotionally expressive and to be assumed to be emotionally heightened as well, we have always felt very uncomfortable accepting that we're not okay in the head. So I spent about a year in therapy, and I think it's the best experience of my life, because it also allowed me, and it's very difficult to talk about it, because what happens as an actor, one, you are expected, especially as a male actor, to constantly be heroic. So nobody expects you कि यार ये तो यार hero type आदमी है यार, ये मतलब कैसे इतना emotionally weak है. एक तो वो perspective से आता था कि मैं किसी को बोलूँ भी कि नहीं बोलूँ. मैंने अपने parents को नहीं बोला था बहुत time तक कि I was in therapy, because even your parents look at you as a man, right? But then, yeah, it's not easy. But I'm 100% propagator that men need to go out there, speak their feelings with somebody, because until you're not going through yourself, you'll never listen to your friend in that same aspect. अगर मेरा ब्रेकअप हो रहा है ना, तो मैं सुन लूंगा भाई तेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, हम लोग शेयर कर लेंगे. बट अगर सिर्फ मेरी जिंदगी में बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है, इसमें नहीं चल रहा, तो हम बात ही नहीं करेंगे और मैं सुनूंगा भी नहीं. तो एक पॉइंट के बाद I did not want to be a burden on anybody else, which is my sister, my closest friend at that time. And I was like, you know what? I need to take this burden and I need to have it sharing with someone who will medically understand me. Because एक point के बाद ना everyone gets fed up of you. Like you said, you know, fact है ना.
No, but fair यार.
हम भी इंसान है. कोई हमारे पास आके हर दिन वही रोना रोएगा, तो आप बोलोगे बस यार में होता है, you know, move on, you know, ये फलाना ढुमकाना है. I felt like यार, I don't want to be that person for somebody else यार. Let me take this burden off everybody and go out there and seek help. And it was not easy. The first meeting with my therapist was the most silent conversation I've had for an hour, the most expensive conversation. And one size doesn't fit all. Like, this is something because we're talking about, so let's treat it seriously. It's not that the first therapist you go to is your marriage, you know.
Absolutely.
In fact, I didn't even have the education of what a psychologist is and what a therapist is. एक है जो आपकी बातें सुनेगा और एक है जो आपको बातें सुन के थोड़ी, you know, will medically help you with medication.
So that psychiatrist.
So मैं पहले साइकियाट्रिस्ट के पास चला गया, उसने बहुत बड़ी लिस्ट बना दी. मैं कहा यार ये तो कुछ गलत हो गया, मैंने पिक्चरों में कुछ और देखा है, वो तो सोफे बिठा के बातें करते हैं.
Same happened with me, by the way. Absolutely the same.
So and I went to a hospital, right, because I didn't know where else to go, right, because I was having panic attacks. I found myself one day, you know, fainted on the floor in the middle of the night.
Wow.
So I was like, this needs to be kind of dealt with. So I checked myself into an emergency because I thought I was getting a heart attack.
Karan, our stories are very similar, by the way.
So it's how I reached a psychiatrist
yeah.
versus a psychologist, and of course I went slow with you know, things from there on. And today I think I know myself so much better as a human being, you know. So it's the fact that going to a psychologist was the enabler, but then I also feel like how he said, no, it's not the end all, yeah. It is your own journey. You have to sit with your emotions. I'm not somebody who likes to pound alcohol. In fact, I have a very simple logic with alcohol that I only drink when I'm making merry, you know. If I'm down, because I know it's a trap, right? So I like to sit with my emotions. I actually will lock myself in a house and I'll not see people, not because I'm embarrassed of the state that I'm in, but I want to kind of feel neutral again, to approach more people and to have people in my life. And I feel you have to give yourself that much time. I took actually a year off from work, you know, from filming, because I was not in a state of mind to go out there and act and perform and exuberate. And I think you're allowed to do that.
So well said, yeah, so beautiful. Thank you Karan for sharing this. I cannot tell you how similar stories are. मैंने भी एक साल, I mean, at the peak of my career at Yashraj, I left for 1 year. I really just took a sabbatical from work because I realized that if I don't do it, it's just going to be detrimental. I used to get panic attacks. I used to be in a place where I was not able to breathe. There are days that I could not do it, and it took me a lot of effort to overcome in my head what was shame. कि अगर मैं जाऊंगा और तो लोग ऐसे क्या सोचेंगे, कैसे समझेंगे, और लोगों को मतलब अल्टीमेटली क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है यार, आपकी जिंदगी आपको ठीक करना है. इट डज, यू आर नॉट डूइंग थिंग्स टू जस्टिफाई टू अदर पीपल, वेदर इट इज योर मेंटल हेल्थ, वेदर इट इज योर स्लीप, व्हाटएवर इट इज, यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ योर ओन हेल्थ. इट इज इन योर एंड यू आल्सो राइटली सेड देयर आर, एंड इट्स इवन मोर सो ट्रू फॉर आदमी, कि अगर आदमी ज़्यादा बोलेंगे ना कि हमको दिक्कत है, वो जजमेंट आ जाती है कि यार ये तो रोता ही रहता है, अगर ये तो कुछ जिंदगी में अब कुछ फिक्स इट, नो, व्हाई आर यू जस्ट क्राइंग अबाउट योर लाइफ, यू नो, दैट sometimes you can't, sometimes you're just not in a position.
No, you know, and you know, I want to really I mean, because we use this forum to create awareness. You know, sometimes you can't fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you don't know what is wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Like you can't, you're like, man, I'm doing everything that, let's say if I'm going through a bad time, by the book, I'm doing everything, but something is not right.
Absolutely.
And it is so important to recognize that. It is so important to get yourself diagnosed. It is so important to go out and talk to people. And it is so important if someone tells you, listen, you require medication to stabilize yourself, to realize that it's normal.
Yeah,
you know, I feel like वो भी इतना बड़ा क्या कहते हैं,
टैबू
हवा है उस बात को लेके कि यार आप डर जाते हो उस बात से. आई फील या तो मेडिकल प्रोफेशनल्स को ये ओनस लेना चाहिए कि आप इसको थोड़ा नॉर्मलाइज करें, कि सामने वाला भी उतना कंफर्टेबल हो इन सारी चीजों को लेके, या as individuals, like how we have a forum today, we need to have more forums like this where you talk about mental health because it is so imperative.
No, you're so right. And I'm telling you, Karan, तुमने बताया ना कि तुम भी psychiatrist के पास गए थे. I also went to a psychiatrist. I remember the thing that it was a very big hospital.
Yeah.
And I also thought that in fact, my wife pointed out saying that I think तुम्हारे heart condition है because you keep sweating a lot nowadays. What is happening to you? And it was anxiety. I did not know it was anxiety. So when I went to the doctor, I went to a psychiatrist eventually, and they said one thing which I'll never forget. He says, मेरे को ना नींद रात को कम आती थी, तो मैं फिर क्योंकि एंग्जाइटी थी तो फिर नींद की इशू हो रहा था, तो मैंने जाके बोला, उसने मुझे बोला कि ऐसा करो, he just said कि ये पिल्स हैं, मैं आपको एक जिंदगी में आपको एक सीख दूंगा, हाँ नुस्खा दूंगा जो कभी जिंदगी में आप भूलोगे नहीं, कि there are 3 things in life that if you try to do more वो कम होती जाती है अगर आप ज़्यादा करने की कोशिश करो. मतलब कि if you try to shit, have sex or sleep, the more you try it, the more difficult it is. He's like, so take this medicine, it is going to solve whether it is your sleeping problem, sex problem, shitting problem. I was like, okay. It was a very weird conversation. After which I was like, I don't have a problem with taking this medicine, but I think I should go to somebody else who first understands कि मेरी problem क्या है.
And a panic attack almost mimics you feeling like you're dying.
It is, yeah, very much so. Very
My
much so.
biggest learning from from the experience that I had, and today I can talk about it very comfortably because it's way back in the past, is that you can't die from it.
Yeah.
The biggest fear when you're getting a panic attack is you're like, yaar, aaj to main gaya. Aaj to matlab ho gaya bhai, this is it. And you find yourself checking into an emergency, which you only saw, let's say, somebody very elder doing. So you can't normalize a lot of things. I'm so young, why am I checking myself into an emergency? Is this okay? You're embarrassed, you're asking them to close the curtains because you're also aware of who you are. But one thing like I want to leave everybody with is that you can't die from it. If you get a panic attack, you'll live through it. Because I feel like that at that moment, having that cord in your hand, knowing that this is not going to kill you is so, so, so important.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share.